the floor is yours, Azam. Just say a few words about yourself, about the book you have written and the books you are writing,
Yeah,
which
the
are
book
very
I've written is kind of history, but the book I'm writing is a little bit more interesting.
it's very exciting. Yeah,
It's
you're right.
actually, so it's about the Quran. And when I was writing the previous book, I read the Quran, you could say, for the first time. And I realized a few things, and I decided to write a book about the Quran. So for the last 3 years or so, I've been working on this book, and I'm hoping it'll be out next year, inshallah. And
Okay. Okay.
so let me begin with this situation. So when the war began, when Israel and the United States began the aggression almost literally 2 months ago against Iran,
Mhm.
I was kind of prepared for that to happen, and I had done some communication with the groups I'm in on social media, etc.
Mhm.
And so when this Pakistan-Saudi agreement took place last year, then I realized that was against Iran. And my conclusion was that the United States and Israel were likely behind it, behind the agreement. So I was very concerned 2 months ago that Pakistan would soon join in support of the United States and Israel. So I sent a message out to the groups, and half of my recipients of those groups are actually retired military officers from
Mhm.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
So my question was, okay, let's say a war begins and Pakistan participates against Iran to support United States and Israel and the Gulf states and the Arab states and everything. Now, as retired officers, whether or not you are, even if imagine you're a retired officer, it becomes mandatory for you to fight. A force tells you that you have to fight.
Mhm.
But the force tells you that you can fight for either side. You can fight for Pakistan or you can fight for Iran. And
Mhm.
the force tells you to go read the Quran and then make your decision. And now announce your decision. Not too many people announced, of course. But the few people who announced, they all said we are going to fight for Iran. These are retired military officers, some of them, some civilians or whatever,
Mhm.
and all Pakistanis. And they were all saying that we would be fighting for Iran. So the point I'm making is this. My
Mhm.
guess was that Pakistan would join the United States and Israel and the Arab states in the war against Iran, one way or the other. I mean, they might have helped one way or the other. Pakistan actually officially helped Israel in the genocide, so we should be aware of that also.
Yeah.
But what happened was that there were some forces that the honorable field marshal just couldn't overpower. And I mean, of course, the force of Allah is there, but there was, of course, there must have been some pressure from China and Russia also, and so that would be one factor. But one of the factors that really went against the field marshal was the fact this sentiment that people were expressing, and all of the people who responded to me, I could easily tell that most of them were Sunni. They were not Shia. The
Mhm.
Shias just stayed silent. They didn't have to speak because
Mhm.
it was Sunnis who were speaking, and they were saying they would fight for Iran. So
Mhm.
when a retired officer says something, which means it's kind of the sentiment that the serving officers also have. So I think that was one force that kept Pakistan out of this thing. And they must have supported that. I mean, it's very obvious they supported the United States, and they were taking orders from the United States. It's very obvious. When I
Mhm.
say American, Pakistani, whatever, I really mean the system, the managers of the system,
Mhm.
and all that. But they realize that the public is against them. They realize that even within the military, things could go south if they decided to do anything. And that's, I think, one reason, one factor that kept them away. And so I thought I'll kind of share that because that was interesting thing going on. And then we can go to the outline I had sent, and I'm just going to cover 3 or 4 bullet points here, but please tell me if there's anything you would like me to cover, and I'll be happy to do that. So we'll begin with 1953 here. And the one bullet I'll cover here is section 1, bullet D. This is about the recruitment of religious clerics, especially given their influence on the bazaar. Bazaar, I won't go into as much, but this has been a US policy from the beginning. It's been a Cold War policy to recruit the religious clerics. In this case, it was Ayatollah Kashani who was recruited, and then many others, but Kashani was the most prominent of the clerics who was recruited. And this has been, so we can see the trend how the religious forces were made stronger and stronger and stronger. And it went on throughout the Cold War all over the Muslim world. For example, in Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood was supported by the United States, and it was against, in Egypt, it was against Jamal Abdel Nasser at that time, and so on. All kinds of things happened.
Hello?
All kinds of things happened throughout in that regard during the Cold War. So we have to realize the second half of the last century, the United States was fully supporting these religious groups. And so that's one reason now we ended up after 1953 with the Shah. There was a US and British decision. And then, of course, the Ayatollah Khomeini and company then took over in 1979. And that, again, I would say, yes, it's a powerful group within Iran, but the way they were promoted and the way Mossadegh was taken out of the picture and the whole system was, the democratic system was taken out of the picture, is why we ended up where we are. And again, today, whatever happens, whether the United States enters a ceasefire with Iran or whether it doesn't enter the ceasefire, internally also, this war has strengthened the legitimacy of the regime. And in Iran, the regime in the United States is making the system of governance, which is not a democratic system from my viewpoint, legitimate more and more, and it has done directly, it has done indirectly. So that's the kind of thing we have to keep in mind. So of course, compared to the Shah, the system we have is much, much better. In my opinion, the system we have there compared to what Shah was doing is much, much better. But at the same time, this is nothing that Iran could have had if the Mossadegh system had continued, if the democracy at that time had continued. So, you would have, the Mossadegh Shariati type of groups ruling controlling the country as a democracy. But we have ended up with the Ayatollahs now controlling, and now, of course, at the end we'll see also the military has also become very powerful over there in Iran. We go to the second section I have here, relations with the United States. As Shah took over, the relations really were very strong, and Iran was the policeman, sort of. That was the word used officially in official circles. Iran was the policeman over there in that region for the United States, and the USA was supporting Saudi Arabia and Iran as the two major Muslim countries in that region. Then we go to Israel and the relations with Israel. Iran at that time, from let's say 53 all the way up to 79, had very strong relationship with Israel, and it was not diplomatically recognized. Iran didn't recognize Israel, But otherwise, it was the one Muslim country that had the strongest relationship with Israel in all kinds of ways. Even the Mossad, in addition to the CIA, the Mossad was training the Savak. So we have to realize that when the Iranis think of what happened during the Shah's time, they have to automatically connect everything to the United States and Israel because of what Savak did and because of who trained Savak. And Savak is their internal security agency, or whatever you may want to call the terror organization that was supporting the Shah there throughout his stay there. And then, when the Ayatollah Khomeini took over, the organization was disbanded. Another one was created. It's called something similar. And they may not be as bad, but of course, some of the things possibly go on anyway, and all of that. The other thing I want to highlight is the Iran-Iraq war. That's the fourth section here. And we have to realize the role everybody played. Everybody was involved in providing arms and ammunition to both sides, except the Gulf states and except perhaps the United States. China and Russia were providing arms and ammunitions to both sides, and mostly to Iraq, actually. And the Western countries were providing weapons of all types to both sides, but mostly all of the chemical weapons that came from the Western Europeans. Even Switzerland was involved in providing some chemicals that helped Iraq develop the chemical weapons, and of course the missiles that were used were likely Chinese or Russian. I'm forgetting which one they were, which were modified to carry those chemical weapons. And we can see the numbers I have here is something like a million people or more were killed and injured by those chemical weapons that I have listed here. Then we go to the final point here. I have 3 or 4 more minutes, and it's the future trends to watch out for. And the 3 trends I have written down here is, one is the right-wing clerics will become more and more powerful within the system, within even the system of clerics. So we are likely to see that the right wing is going to become more and more powerful. And again, my concern is not that Shah was better than these people. No, they are better than the Shah, decidedly, for Iran. However, the problem is that this is no replacement for Mossadegh. And so people like, those intellectual type of people were kind of sidelined, and the clerics took over in 79. That's the point I'm making. So rights will be curtailed and limited in the name of Islam. And some of those things that I'm aware of are fairly serious and grave in terms of human rights. And the second point I've highlighted is the power balance we have to look out for between the state clergy and the IRGC. So IRGC is becoming more and more powerful, so we have to see how those shifts take place and what happens. And again, the tragedy here is that the real people who should be governing the country on behalf of the people is neither the IRGC nor the state clergy, but those are the people who are in control. So we should realize. And the other thing that has happened there is that the military and the mullah group have gone very strongly into business. So what I refer to as bazaar in the beginning has been, the influence has diminished. It was a real force. Bazaar in Iran, let's say in the 50s, and since then was very strong. And I think Dennis will maybe comment on that. But that has become a little bit weaker because much of the business, the industry itself, has gone under the control of the military and the clergy, and that's a very serious thing. If this happened in Pakistan, the Pakistani military is very corrupt, amazingly corrupt, especially the army is really, you could say, the world's largest hub of organized crime at this time. But this began in the 1950s, and they took over all of the business and everything. And the Pakistani army, more so than the Navy and the Air Force, they control everything right now. They control everything in the business and all of that. And it's not a very good idea to have the military or the clergy controlling all of the business in the country. So that was the third point I had made there in that. And my 20 minutes are almost over. So I'll stop here unless there are comments or questions at the end. I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you've raised a lot of questions. But we'll come back to you after we've had our speakers. Why am I hearing my voice? Okay. Fariba Jan,
Yes.
you are our guest speaker. Would you please
Oh, thank you.
start?
And thank you for having me. As some of you already know me, I'm American Iranian, and these days is really hard to have a both side, and you feel that the on one side, not the people, the administration. Get the advantage and go against the another one. And I'm the one that I have lived in Iran before revolution, during revolution, during the time of the war between the Iran and Iraq, and years after that one, and then I came here. Also, always, all of my career, it was in the academic area. In Iran, I was a high school teacher, and I got my first master degree in Iran. And here again, I continue to be in the academic area, continue the education, second the master degree and the PhD, and then from the long time ago, I just teach. Now, the situation, the reason that I brought this, what is called the career of myself, that always I was involved with the education, also is related to whatever is happening now. Is really hard that you see the attack that is completely unfair, injustice, and you don't know what is the reason. We know what is the reason. But when you go back, that which places or the buildings or the institution that they are attacked is really heartbreaking. When I heard about the university that already I was studying over there, it was attacked, University Shahid Behishti, or when I heard about the attack of the university that Maryam Mirza Khani, I believe everybody knows who he is, the first, I can say, first female an Iranian that got the Nobel in the math before Get 40. And the university she was studying over there, that is one of the big university and a very high level university, was bombed. And just I was looking to see how many universities are bombed right now. Is more than 30. How many schools? Many. And also, I believe you have heard the highest B1 bridge that was attacked. And actually, it was a bridge that anytime when I go back home. I pass under that bridge, go to our home. And it's the time that I was there, it was under the construction, and almost it was done. And this was the highest and the biggest one that was connecting the the high parts of the highway that comes out from the Tehran, the capital, to the another side, just solve the problem of the high traffic. And I was completely amazed when anytime when I go in Iran, I see how beautiful construction changes is happening. The beautiful bridges with the beautiful building and whatever, I don't know, because sometimes you hear about the Iran because whatever the media wants to introduce you about Iran. But I know about Iran because I'm Iranian. I go and see it. It's completely different. And it's a beautiful country. And so right now, when brother Azam Saeed was talking, and I hear a lot that is talking about the Mullah regime. And I just don't understand it. Over there, after the revolution, the people, they go and vote and choose the president. And now I believe if you look at if you have access to some media, not the American media or not the Western media, you see what and how many of the people just they stay in the street. And I don't know, you saw it or not, the time that the President Trump that mentioned that until that time, the whole population will be vanished or they will take them to the Stone Age. I don't know, you are aware what Iranian they did? The families, the moms, dads, young people, the kids, they went and filled all of the bridges around all of those construction. They say, okay, if you want to bomb, we are here. And they didn't do just for one day. Every day, every night. And I was just watching the different, what is called news that I'm getting from some other places. Actually, 2 days ago, because I didn't hear anything from one of my friends that she was here in Louisville for 1 year, just going to the one very, what is called the program. And after that one, when graduated, I knew that she went to Iran and I knew that she was in Iran. And finally she called me because she came back, I think it's 2 weeks ago. And when I asked her what was going on in Iran, and something that I heard from her, because I was not there. She told me, Fariba, I was much more comfortable when I was in Iran. And you don't know how strongly people, they were united. And every night, they were in the streets. And they were supporting the government. And she told me, some young people, and also I hear from the different website, they apologize and just they write it down in the media and asking to the Rahbar Khamenei, please forgive us. If you can hear us, forgive us. We didn't judge you well. For this reason, just I wanted to bring this one up because here the media, usually they show, maybe you have seen it, oh, all Iranians are against this regime. The regime is a regime that the people, they vote to be in charge. If you want to say there was some type of the corrupt, I don't say no. Which country you know that everybody is in the best way that they were doing? Some people, they misuse, let's I put it this way, they misuse the opportunity that they have it. They acted use of the opportunity they have. They do a lot of the corrupt work. I agree with this one. And if you just pay attention, just consider the US. If you believe that is a democracy, that I don't believe it, but assume that we believe it is a democracy. Right now, what percent of population, they support the president or the last president? What percent of the people, they were supporting the president? Oh, it was almost close to the 50-50. Just now assume that the 70% support. That means 30% they don't support it. Just imagine what is the 30% of the population of the US if they want to talk about it, if they just come to the street. Because this happened before. And as Iranian, it's bothered me in the different ways. I said, how people, they think here, for example, in the Western country, is completely okay that the 49% of people be against the current regime or the president, but in other country, it's not. If somebody come on the power, does not mean the 100% of the people must be agree with that one. This is a reality. This is a democracy. And now, if some people here that just jump in the street or in the Europe and the media are just focused on that one, and they say all Iranian, always I say, oh my goodness, how they fool people. If it seems that 92 million is the population of Iran. Just imagine, I don't know, just take a 10% of that one. 10% of that one is almost 9 million people be against this president or this regime. It seems that they are too many if they just portion of that one go to the street. This is not the reality. This is something that I just heard here and I hear everywhere. The regime. No, this is a country that the president, like here, the people, they go, they vote, and they choose it. Some, they are not agree with that one. It's completely okay. That is okay like here. It's okay with the other countries. And now something, I'm sorry that I got a little bit emotion. And the way that we are dealing in here as a Iranian, that you see that your family, the part of your body, they are living there. Your friends, they are living there. And you don't know what's going on. They try to make life as hard as that they can. And thank God that they were not able to do it by now. And how we deal with it. Me and some of my friends, it's so hard. That just try to be calm and just do the life. It was going back to the Quran, the holy book that we believe on it. How does it help us? When we go back to the Quran, when you read it, now you feel it that this all story that has happened before and is talking in the Quran is situation right now. And that helps us because we see, oh, God knows everything. Nothing will happen in this world without the permission of Allah. Now, the only thing that is happening here, we try to be in the right path of the history. Does not matter what is going to happen to us. Everybody die. You cannot say anybody can live here forever. As long as we try, that I see the many Iranian, the reason that maybe you will be surprised how strong they are. Because those that they strongly believe that they are not just a small group, we have a majority of people that they have this type of the faith that they say if we are in the right side of the history, therefore does not matter. If we die, it was because of the good cause. If we'll win, still we are a winner. And this is something that is happening over there. If now you know it, the attack that is happening, just I was listening, it's not against the regime. They hate some people. I don't know what type of evil they are, that they hate to see the other countries also they can improve. They don't want to see the Iranian people. They are so educated, very educated, and especially the ladies. When I say educated, not just be able to read or write. No, they are in the high level education. We have a many high percentage of the just a women that they are doctor, physician, lawyer in the some different places. And nobody talk about that one. And for this reason, you see the places that they are attacked and they go for that one is the research area from the different universities, in the different school, in the different, what is called, construction that they are really important. And just I listed some of them. They attacked petrochemical steel factories. They attacked the laser and the plasma research in Tehran. And you know it, as Iranian, I don't want to list, you have access to all of them. As Iranian, not just me, I know many. If they need some to see a doctor, to see the what is called, they have it, they need some surgery, whatever. And many of them, they go to Iran to do the job done. And the different aspect is a orthoped, the surgery of the back, is the teeth, or the other type of the surgery, because they believe the work that is in Iran is much better than here. But some people, maybe they don't believe that one. Yes, we do. We do, not just because of the cost, because some of us, we have the most Iranian, they are, that I know them, they are, and Dr. Hassan know them, they are high educated people. They don't have any problem financially, let's I put it that way. They can afford it to go here, but they go to Iran because the way that they do it is more professional. And something that some countries, they cannot see it. This happened from the inside. Almost 50 years of all, they blocked Iran, that you cannot do anything. The money that belongs to the Iranian, they got it. I can't say just they steal it. What else I can say it? They don't want to see this Iran that is disconnected, at least with the many of the country. They are growing so fast. And honestly, I couldn't believe it when they were saying that we have what is called, we are strange this much military. I couldn't believe it before. And now I said, oh, when they were saying that we are working on it, because they knew it. And I'm sorry, but I have those couple minutes. Therefore, I just make it open. If you have a different type of the question or information that I may be able to answer those, I will be more than happy to answer your question as much as I can. But just I wanted to have whole picture of the Iran that is not something that you hear. And believe me, Iran is not just something that the media they show. The some Iranian people, they are not happy with Iran. But is I don't say we don't have it. Yeah, we have it. The many people they are not happy, but does not mean that they have a right. I know some of them. I know them. They have a. I don't know. You have a news or not that those group they killed one person in Canada because it was the pro government of the Iran, and or in the Germany they attacked with the knife because had the Iranian flag, and those type of the people they are talking about the freedom that maybe you have heard those, maybe you have seen some of those picture is not true. They have some type of the yes, they had access to some stuff that they don't have it right now. Yes, they were in the high level, they had a lot of the money because of the connection that they had with the Shah. Now they don't have that one. I understand them, but just I want to make sure that this is not the majority of Iranian that maybe we hear in the different media and advertising that one. I'm looking to time, just I want to keep the that level.
We we could hear you forever, Veriva. It's most interesting, and I'm sure people have questions, and we'll get back to you. I don't know where Dennis has gone.
Here I
He's
am. Here I am.
here. You are okay.
Just the
Let,
camera is
let,
on.
let's see your face, Dennis. Okay. So would you share talk with us for a few minutes, and then we'll get back and ask some questions. There are lots of questions.
Yeah,
So
just I say, Dennis, where you were, you left in what is called, you lived in Iran in Isfahan,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
have you heard how many places they?
yeah.
No, I'm
It's like,
not current, unfortunately, on the news from Isfahan. But I just
Okay.
wanted to spend a few minutes sharing kind of a personal story of my life as a stranger to the culture. In 1975, I came to Iran after trying to travel to Australia overland to visit my in-law, my family there. And a university professor of mine from Florida uh, had become a citizen of Iran. He had worked with Aramco, the giant oil company, and he was so I don't know, dispirited by what was going on in the United States at the time that he and his wife and children became citizens. He became a farmer and a university professor at the Danishgah Isfahan, University in Isfahan. And I just happened to run out of money in Eastern Europe and got in contact with him. He said, "Sure, Dennis, come over and I'll help you get a job." So I was offered a job teaching English, excuse me, in the University of Isfahan. English really is a foreign language. I got to have classes with what surprisingly many women in the class. I remember the medical school class in particular had 50% women, 50% men. I'm not sure that was even the standard in the United States at the time. It was quite surprising to me. But I did have some interesting adventures while I was there and got a glimpse of the culture. As a visitor, I wanted to say that the people I met were very warm and welcoming, and there was a hospitality ethic called taruf, as I understood it, that made the stranger welcome, no matter the circumstances of the family inviting the stranger in. So I felt the arms wrapped around me, and no criticism of me as an American, but just as a recognition of me as a human being. I wanted to remind people that you probably know already, but this Iran is a 5,000-year-old civilization. And they have had invasions and seen government transfers of power for, hundreds and hundreds of years.
Hello.
And one striking
Okay,
feature
Colin.
I noticed was that
Are you
ordinary
speaking?
people in Iran were able to distinguish between government representatives, like the ambassadors or politicians, and ordinary people like me. So when I introduced myself as an American, I wasn't stereotyped as a representative
What,
of US
sleeping?
government. I was another human being passing through this land. When I was in Isfahan, it was a beautiful city. There were many people, young people riding bicycles for transportation as well as cars, and just historic city of magnificent proportions. I used to go to the Meidani Shah, huge open parade ground in a way that uh, emptied into the bazaar. And Assam, speaking of my experience with the bazaar, I did hear that the business people in the bazaar, the bazaris, had a particular political inclination. And they, at the time I was there, they were not really supportive of the Shah. And I think they were more supportive of the Ayatollah when he was making his presence known. One other feature I wanted to share was the architecture, not just the historic buildings, but there was a farming type building. It's called a pigeon tower that farmers used to attract pigeons. So it's a cylindrical building, and it was not just utilitarian with places like a post office for pigeons to rest. Inside, it looked like stalactites, and it was kind of a five-star hotel for pigeons. So they could make their droppings into the center of the building, and then the farmers could gather it. So it's not just utilitarian, but it's a structure of great beauty. In fact, there was one English archaeologist whose name escapes me, very famous archaeologist, who so beloved Iran that she bought a pigeon tower and turned it into a home. It was just a spectacular sight. And I want to finish by saying two things. During the revolution, the one memory I have is the electric company would turn off the lights to show support for the Ayatollah. This is 1979, and that gave for very good stargazing, constellation watching. And I lived in about 100-year-old mud and straw. I call it a declining Qajar after the previous dynasty Qajar mansion. It was a beautiful home with 3 or 4 acres of plane trees and quince trees. I was very fortunate to rent a room in that house. And one night we were watching the constellations when there was this whoosh of flame. Somebody astride the mud wall around our compound had thrown a Molotov cocktail at our front door. So I saw another one, whoosh, and I thought, oh my goodness, what's going on here? And as it came to be, we were able to, uh, I guess, persuade the person to go away and not throw any more Molotov cocktails. In the morning, we opened the doors, these double doors, thick wooden doors, to look out on the street, the Kuche, and see the neighbors' mud wall. And there was some graffiti. It said, Yankee go home, therefore we kill you very quickly. And the English teacher in me said, complex sentence. My job is done. And I have to say, the neighbors gathered around and said, don't worry, we are watching you. These were outsiders, they don't know you. And that was all resolved quite well. I felt that we had lots of support locally. And then as the final days came to my end, my job ended, some Iranian friends, young men that my girlfriend and I had met, insisted on riding on the bus that we were taking to Pakistan to make sure we were comfortable and no one bothered us. So I just have sweet memories of the people and the university situation in Iran.
So how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel when so much bombing is going on
Well,
in
it terrifies me
that
because
city?
I've been writing my congressman saying that
Mhm.
these are cultural treasures of the world. These are not just Iranian symbols, so protect them. So I don't know, Fariba. I haven't, like I said, heard much about the details. I'm just
Yeah.
hopeful, the mosques, buildings stay.
I love that you remember some Iranian Farsi word that you were using,
Yeah.
Taro, Puche, and something like that one. And unfortunately, Isfahan is one of the cities that they attacked a lot.
Mm.
They attacked the Isfahan University of the Technology and the some historic part as well, and
Oh.
a lot. It
Mhm.
was one of the cities that they attacked it a lot.
One quick anecdote I forgot to mention. My friends and I traveled into some small villages to meet students and families of students that we had. And I can still remember one dear woman with a chador on, and she came out of her house and she said, and help me, Fariba, but Gorbane Shuma, I am your servant. And she said, anything in my humble home is yours. You're here, you're my guest. And that was the sentiment I felt all across the culture. So thanks for listening to those stories. Oh,
Thank
and
you.
we did name our first child middle name Jahan, which means universe, galaxy, world. So I
Mm.
was really
Yeah.
taken by the culture.
And usually they were saying the Esfahan is a Nesfe Jahan.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nisfajan. Yeah.
Jahan.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
half the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Dennis, you mentioned, this is Talat, but you mentioned that, your friend was working for Aramco.
Yes.
So because I've raised in the Saudi Arabia, so in the Haran, the Aramco's, in that area, the eastern part of the country, the Aramco is a big, the Arabian American oil company. But I didn't know that Iran also, had that Arabian American oil company established there for definitely for the oil, you know, refineries and everything.
Yeah, thanks for
Mhm.
mentioning that. The
Mm.
yeah, the professor had worked for decades with Aramco, and
Mhm.
I don't think he was always in Isfahan, but in other countries, oil-rich countries.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. Um, well, we have time for some questions, and
Right.
then I would like to take about 10 minutes of your time to tell you about what I've been working on, which is a historical analysis of what is going on. It starts with Iran and it'll end with Iran, with Imam Hussein and his martyrdom in Karbala at 680 CE. But there's a lot of history in between, and I don't know why my voice is echoing.
Yes, it is
It's echoing.
echoing.
I don't know how to
Yes.
stop this. Um, okay.
Sometimes other users being unmuted, like we're hearing if
Yeah.
it's like the speaker is loud, it's coming back through from the other people. Sometimes
Okay.
muting other people and then only having the speaker talk helps.
Okay. So, should I mute everybody?
We
for a
can
minute?
do it by our
Uh, okay. Hello? Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. The echo seems to have stopped. So,
Rafat, I have a question for Riba
yes.
and on culture. And Dennis can also join in since he's had quite a background in Iran.
Yeah.
But I had a couple of friends, husband and wife, years ago, Iranian, who went home to Iran 10 years after the revolution. So I guess, what, 1989. So when they came back to our town, I asked the husband, what's the biggest difference you noticed since the revolution? And he said, before the revolution, people drank in public and prayed in private. Now they pray in public and drink in private. So, Fariba, and maybe you too, Dennis, can you say anything about cultural changes in Iran since the revolution and today?
Okay, this is a reality. Sometimes uh, the behavior of the people comes back from their belief. If somebody don't believe that the drinking is not good, or doing a lot of the, for example, doing a lot of other stuff, uh, therefore nobody can force them to believe to have that type of life. They will find. I told you in the beginning that Iranian are smart, but when I say smart, that does not mean just they are good to in the scientific and be a doctor. They can find a way to go over to whatever they wanted. If they want to have alcohol, if they cannot find the alcohol, they find it out how to make it. This is something that is happening, and yes, some stuff in Iran, what is called is prohibited. You don't see it. Is not legal that you see the store to sell the alcohol, and but does not mean that the people they cannot make it at home. They do it, and like here now, you are mentioning something. If you go in Iran, maybe you see is up to which group you met. Maybe you see there's some type of the party that's going on over there for the some young generation. That's maybe you don't see it here a lot. This is I agree with you that there's some part of the the behavior they try to control. They go more extreme in hiding places. Yeah, I agree that this happened.
Actually, I have another quick question, and maybe you have the answer to this, Fariba. But we hear in our media, we have heard since the start of this so-called war that Iranian government butchered, slaughtered 30,000 Iranian protesters. And we've heard it so many times, it's understood by most Americans, I would think, as true. So from what you know, is that accurate? Did it happen?
You have actually a good question. In that moment, I was not in Iran, but if this happened, that there's some people they were killed, the answer is yes, and the Iran talk about that one. And here, I don't know how much you have watched CI from the President Trump and from the Israel. The President Trump, it was 1 week ago, I believe, that he was talking that we sent a lot of the arm to Iranian people, and the Mossad,
Yeah.
they said all people are there, and they were the young, what is called the many people, some people over there. Something that happened, and this is from my knowledge, uh, because the Iran after the revolution, the sanction was hardest sanction that everybody can go through it. Then the Iranian went through all what is called their money that it was outside, all was or is still blocked, and they try not just the US, Israel, the all Western country. They tried to make a life in Iran as much as possible hard when everything get expensive, and the value of the dollars goes up, the value of the toman goes down. This is all of the pressure that happened, and for this reason, the people get unhappy. And many of them, they think because of the media again, because everybody have access to the all media, not just the Iran. The Iranian, they have access to a lot of the different news that maybe here I don't have access to that one. And for this reason, the people, especially some young generation, they were not happy. And this was completely designed that the people, they start the protesting. And I don't know you have seen it or not, that some, they start to burn the, what is called, the ambulance, the mosque. They kill the officers, the soldiers. They started at the beginning. They didn't have those. They were not armed. I'm talking about the soldiers. They start doing this one. They start to rob and they burn many public buses, public equipment, and start to attack banks and kill the people that they were working over there. If something like this happened, and I didn't know in that time, when I heard from here and the Mossad and the Israel, they confirm that, and still they say, we have a people between you. We arm them. If this happened, what do you supposed to do to just, what is called, stop this type of the behavior? And this happened that first they said, if somebody start to doing this one and continue this one, they will be shot. And they did it. But the time is, the number that comes up is I believe is a 3,000 some. And the other, they say, if you say 30,000, 100,000, whatever number, just give the names. And at the beginning, they were giving the some names that the people, they say, hey, I'm here. I was not killed and I was not in that group. And you see it, they say the 1,000, the first 100,000, the 3,000, and all the numbers that is happening. This was, I don't want to say all the people that they protest, they were among those groups that they were armed with the US and the Israel. No, but they were among them. If the people, I was young when the revolution happened, the feeling of the young people is completely different. With the, I remember that we were feeling that we have all power to change everything that we wanted.
Mhm.
If we be here, we can, really govern everything. And the young generation in the group just come up. Some people go around that one, and this is a happening. And they confess that they send the people over there. They arm them. And at the beginning, many of the explosion that happened in Iran, it was from inside of the Iran.
Yeah.
Because they were what is called the finding the places, they find the places that the people where they live it, where they are moving, which car, which house, with or send all information to the some other places, and they were just attacking that point. We had those people. They had those people, and still we have those trained people. You know, it's not just now. The time of after the revolution, I don't know how much you remember the history. I was in Iran, that the parliament, including the 72 of the administration, the people of the, what is called, we call it the majlis, is the parliament, they were just explode from the inside. We had President, what was the name? I wrote it, the president and the vice president, that it was from the inside, the all office went up. It's not the first time. We had many people, they were assassinated with the some group that they were in Iran, is the Mujahideen Khalq, that now they are outside. They say, okay, you go kill Iranian, we will be happy with you. And then we want to go over there. Or Reza Pahlavi, the Shah's son. that the people they think that it's funny that he is a person that he wants to go over there and govern over there. What are you talking about? If the people just imagine this one, that you are the family, you have some sibling, does not mean that all your kids or the sibling you have the same idea about whatever is happening in your family. I'm just talking about your family. You are not agree with everything. Just imagine that the one person from your family goes in the neighbor and say, okay, come, I give you the all information to you, just kill all of them because I'm not agree with them. I want to be in power. Do you accept it? This is something that some people here they are doing. The Reza Pahlavi that you hear, that some people that they go in the street, maybe they dancing when the school of the Minab, I believe that you have heard it, school, elementary school. The first bomb came, some were killed, and the other kids, they went to the prayer room to hide. The second bomb killed all of them. Elementary school and all teachers. And here, some people, they're dancing. Just, I don't say anything, just you imagine what is called the news that you hear from some people, they acting, they behaving like that one. And now just you judge that what type of the people they can do that.
Thank you very much. Kaiser has a question. Go ahead, Kaiser.
I was a student at the American University of Beirut in 1960 to 1962. And the university had about maybe 60 nationalities, including the Iranians. And of those 60 nationalities, or around 60 nationalities, the Iranian students, particularly the females, stood out significantly. They were more forward than even the American students or the European students. They were very, very westernized in their culture, in their habits, in their practices. I did not see any of them practicing anything close to being Muslims or Islamic. They were just totally different from what we are seeing them portrayed in the media here. So I can see there are two extremes, and those living from that period to this period must be very, very, very difficult. The other thing that I noticed, we are portrayed here a picture of Iran like they are very poor, poverty-stricken, backward, illiterate, uneducated people. And I have visited Tehran twice, each time for a few days. Tehran looked so beautiful, so beautiful. The architecture, Iranian architecture, I think can beat any architecture anywhere. I know that today's Dubai and Abu Dhabi and some of those countries architecturally are very beautiful, but they do not have the taste in architecture that I saw in Tehran. Very beautiful, very beautiful. In terms of the cultural differences that are portrayed today and what I saw, it's amazing how we have presented Iran here. People who have not visited Iran probably are the only ones who know the difference between the reality and the portrayed culture of Iran and the life in Iran here. So I'm so glad to hear that you talked about it. I wish everybody could see. I come originally from Pakistan. So I have seen the Mughal architecture in Pakistan and Mughal architecture in India. But the architecture in Iran, it is just absolutely beautiful. So thank you for your presentation.
And Kaiser
Oh,
also loves the Iranian pistachios.
Yes. This time I was studying at in American U Beirut, so I used to go home to Karachi just about every long weekend if I could.
Mhm.
And at that time it was Pan American Airlines which used to fly between Beirut and Karachi. And it made a stop about 30 minutes at Tehran airport. I jump out of the plane, run into the hallway in the airport, and get my 5-pound bag of Iranian pistachios. They are the best one ever anywhere.
I don't know if you
hopefully.
experienced the candy called gauze, kind of a nugget with pistachios in it. Oh,
Mm.
it's wonderful.
And really, we all pray that hopefully very soon that this conflict be over and the people they be able to go back and knows the differences. This is something that we believe in the as Islam that the Quran says we are create. The God says, if I wanted to create all of you be the same, it was easy for me. I could do that. I do it be different that you know each other and you grow and you know uh, they get a lot from the differences. And as you said, the different now the Iranian people is not all the religious people because the belief must come from inside. Not you cannot force anybody. Now maybe you'll be surprised in all my family. I'm talking about my sister, my sister-in-law. I'm the only one that cover my hair. Those that they are in Iran, or not all of them are in Iran, they never wanted to do it, and they go the other way. I go this way. We respect each other, but yeah, this is a. But now it's completely different. It's not the people in the street. They don't have a. Many of them they don't have a hijab anymore. That's mean the covering hair.
Yeah. But sorry.
Maria has got her hand up. Maria, can we hear from you, please?
Yes, and I know that I want to make sure that we have time to hear about your part one of your paper, so I'll try to keep it brief. I know that you talked about this idea that I think happens where there's this idea of the United States will come in, we'll attack a country we want people to overthrow, and it backfires, like you mentioned, in saying that it actually unites people in the ways that the genocide in Palestine, a lot of people talk about the sectarianism that has been fueled by the United States and other Western countries, like is in some ways challenged or weakened because of the way the genocide brought people across the region together, like against Israel. And I was wondering, I'm not as familiar with the 1980s Iraq and Iran war. Because you said you lived there during that period, correct, Freya? I was wondering if you could speak about the impact. I know that we talked about like the sanctions, that the long-term sanctions regime has really impacted like people's ability to kind of like live, and they're kind of discontent with like whether the state is responding correctly to the sanctions or doing enough. But in the 1980s, obviously, this is a decade-long war, and it's the one I'm the least familiar. Was not born. Did you find that going through that experience, did that bring people together in a similar way, or did that create more fractures because it was more intra-regional with Iraq? I was just curious how Iranians, and especially Muslim Iranians, how that was that how did that war like impact you or like
Okay.
impact your culture?
Yeah, in that time I was in Iran and I was what is called actually I was teaching that moment. Um, Something that happened. I don't know. I believe maybe it's not just the Iranian. It's happening in other places. When you feel that something is not just and the all other groups they are against you, you get more united and you feel that you are much more stronger. In that time, uh, it it was almost the 10 years. You could at the first start with just in the borders because again I think they miscalculate Iranian. They thought this is a revolution happened and that some people are different group in the civil war, whatever they thought, that just if they just they attack they can get the whatever they wanted, and they miscalculated. And this happened. I just completely remember that the many very young people, I'm not just saying young people, not just the 20 years above, very young people, they were volunteer, go and, go and join the army. And some they did it. And we have some stories that some people, very, very young, I'm talking about the teenagers or the younger of that one, they were going and they were, the parents, they were not able to keep them at home because they wanted to say, at least if I cannot have a gun and, go and uh, work over there, okay, I can have something and I lay down. If the tank come over there, I can explode that one. That's I kill myself, but I can kill some other enemy. And they were stronger. And the people, when they get in the hard situation, and I know that these days also this happening, they are helping each other much more than before, much more than before. They try to, help each other from the if it's a food, if it's a gas. In that time, it was not just what is called the Iraq, as it was mentioned with brother Saeed. The countries, all countries, they were all together united in the war with Iran. We had a many chemical weapon that was used. It was built by United States. And I know that Dr. Hassan knows the Professor Marandi. The Professor Marandi is one of them that still suffer from the chemical attack that he had. He was volunteer when he was 17 years old. And Imam Khamenei, or the Rahbar that was killed in this war, he personally was in we call it the Jebha, in the border that the other people, they were, what is called, with the army. And this time, it was the second time that was, they tried to they killed him because they tried to assassinate before, and for this reason, his right hand was not working anymore. Yes, in that time, it was so hard, but does this help the people? They be more united. They try more help each other. We didn't have the power, the light, because of everything was attacked. And then later on, after I think it was in the eighth year, that they started to bomb other cities as well. It's not just in the border. And uh, remember that once I was at school in the Karaj, very close to the Tehran, and they bombarded one place that just all what is called the windows of the school was broken, and we were just confused because we were so far away from the border. But this helped the people to be much united, and you know it. The first they improved and they got this some part of the Iranian land, but Iranian, they didn't stop. We gave a lot, we sacrificed a lot of the young people, but we got every part back. They, they, they get more strong. They are not giving up. And you know it, they said, and it was a big miscalculation. They don't afraid. And I know that Dr. Hassan wanted to talk about the Karbala and the culture that we have it and the belief that we have it, that if we die because of the cause, and is not losing anything. We are the winner if still we die. And if we win, again, we are winner. We are not afraid of dying, because this life, we don't believe that this is a goal to be here, just have fun. We are here that be start to doing the good deeds as much as possible. What happened to us does not matter. That I know that the paper that Dr. Hassan talk about the Karbala. I'm a Shia Muslim. I believe in the 12 Imams, and we believe one of the Imam, that is the Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was killed with all his family. And he had all companion and all the ladies and the kids, and the ladies and the kids stay over there. The only reason that this happened, he didn't want to be surrender and say, it's okay. He say, I'm not agree. This is not justice. I cannot says that this is okay. And we are follower of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein is what is called the teacher for all of us, or Imam Ali alayhi salam. They had a not easy life, but this is a way that we have learned that this life is a life for us to grow up in the humanity, in the what is called following whatever that is right.
Fariba, I'm so sorry to interrupt. My battery is almost dead on my computer. If you would let me, I wanted to share a quote from a 13th century Persian poet, Sadi Shirazi. It hangs in the United Nations on a tapestry. Human beings are members of a whole in creation of one essence and soul. If one member is afflicted with pain, members uneasy will remain. If you have no sympathy for human pain, the name human you cannot retain. I think of that when I'm thinking of the leaders of this terrible conflict. But thank you, Fariba. Again, I'm sorry.
Oh, beautiful.
I have that poem in my back of the door of my office.
Fariba, there is so much more to hear from you. So what I'm saying is that this has started echoing again. Can everybody please mute for a minute? So thank you. Okay. Somebody is not who's not mute. Talat, can you mute your phone, please?
Trying to.
Okay. So we have to invite you back to hear the rest of the story. This is just a very little small part of it. अपना बंद कर दें.
हो नहीं रहा actually I'm trying लेकिन वो पता नहीं क्यों हो नहीं रहा.
Somebody is who's for it, who is not unmuted. let me mute all. Okay. All right. I want to talk to you. Why is my voice again echoing?
Dr. Hassan, do you have
Yeah.
anybody in your household
ये
that's
बंद करो,
connected?
बंद कर
If,
दो. हेलो,
if in one
हेलो,
household,
हेलो, बंद करो फोन, इसको बंद कर दो. Yeah, okay, all right.
yeah, anytime in the one household, if you
Yeah,
have a
there's
two
some, yeah, all
connection,
right. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so what I want to say is there are lots of threads in the conversation today that I would like to pick up and connect them. But I wanted to write a paper focusing on the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, who was the grandson of the Prophet, and in 680, he, along with his family, was killed by the usurper ruler um, who violated all the rules of decency and killed them. So this is I wanted to write about that. I wanted to explain what martyrdom was meant to him and what it means in subsequent generations and what it means in Iran. But when I started studying that, I started going back a little bit and to see what was it that Hussein was doing. Basically, his basic statement was we have to resist injustice. And if that means that we have to die, we have to die. We will sacrifice our life, but we will continue to fight against injustice. This was the basic message. And I started tracing it, and I have traced it all the way back to the Prophet, all the way from him through all of the caliphs, uh, the four first ones are called the righteous caliphs, and the fourth one was Hazrat Ali, and then Imam Hassan, and then Imam Hussein. So it's a whole line of these were the people. These were the makers of Islam. Who started the tradition. And there is this tradition of resistance against injustice and fighting for the truth and fighting for the values, democracy, human rights, compassion toward those who are in need, so on. So what I'm doing in my paper is my paper has three parts. The first part is I'm tracing this history of these ideas, of these themes, as they run from the time of the Prophet. This is 632 CE to 680 CE, which is Imam Hussein, all the way through all of them. And I don't have time to explain all the details. But I track all of this down. The second part of it focuses on the story of Imam Hussein himself. What was it? Why did he come to Kufa? Why did he undertake all this struggle? All of that's a big story. And the third part is the connection of all this to Iran. What's happening in Iran? Because what first of all, I want to say that the sacrifice of Imam Hussein is not only recognized by Shias, but it is recognized by all Muslims. And that is why across the Muslim world, there is this overwhelming sympathy for Iran because they are seeing the struggle of Imam Hussein reenacted in what's happening in Iran. So it's not a Shia issue, it's a Islamic issue. Okay, so now what's happened is that again in Iran, as Azam was raising some points, and there are lots of things about the Shah and Ayatollah Khomeini, and I had the honor of visiting Ayatollah Khomeini. I had a conversation with him along with a lot of people who had gone to America, and I will talk to you about it sometimes. It was an amazing experience. But anyway, okay, so what's happened is that this sacrifice of Imam Hussein it's become a part of the DNA of the Iranians, of maybe of all Shias, but particularly of the Iranians, because it's a consistent 5,000-year civilization, and then from the beginning of Islam, it's a Shia stronghold in a sense, but again, as I said, it's not only there. So what it is that it's this uh, fight against injustice. And whenever they have felt that they are being treated unjustly, unfairly, subjected to brutality, they fight. So they fought against the Shah. Shah was the strongest ruler in that whole part of the world. Strongest ally was of United States. but they fought him, and he lost. And Ayatollah Khomeini, who didn't have any army, but he represented the justice of Islam, and he came back. I mean, that's another story. I'll refer to that in my paper. But anyway, so he came back, and then so we have now these leaders. Now, the interesting, Azam raised this point, and a lot of people talk about it. Well, there are lots of Iranians who are, they're kind of secular or modern, or they don't like the rules of the clergy, and there's this, he called about the mullah dominated whatever. That's another aspect of it. But the basic thing is, if you look at the greatest of these modern intellectuals in Iran, the greatest of them was Ali Shariati. He was a super intellectual, super philosopher, very westernized, studied at Sorbonne, and he did not want he did not like the rule of the clergy on the one hand, but on the other hand, his whole philosophy is imbued with the idea of Karbala, of the sacrifice of Imam Hussein, that you have to resist injustice. This is the centerpiece of Ali Shariati's thought. So this belief in fighting for injustice is common to whether you're religious or you're not religious. As long as you are a believing Muslim, this is central to your DNA. And I think if one understands that, then a lot of things fall into place. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's a kind of this project kind of got out of hand because I started with something, but I'm really trying very hard. It's a challenge for I mean I've taught Islam for 4 decades. I didn't know these things that I'm learning now, maybe because I was looking at it from a different place. So that's my hope, and I hope that you all can come for those. I'm planning two meetings because it can't be done in less than that. But I'm hoping that within this week I will be able to send you the first part, which is probably the longest one, and you can look at it and you can send me your comments and your thoughts. And I hope you find that this project worthwhile. You know, um, I see Kathleen nodding. I hope so. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for me, but I really think that I mean I'm an educator by profession, and I think that this is and in our group, this is an education network. We've spent maybe 3 years now, starting 2024 to now. We've studied the history of Palestine, and I think we have learned a lot. We could have not understood what was happening had we not done all that study. Dr. Rashid Khalidi and Ilan Pape and Finkelstein and everything else that has gone on. So I think that if one knows about the history that of what happened, uh, not only would you get a lot of arguments to fight Islamophobia, which is rampant, and because of the Iran war, it's even worse than before. It's everywhere now. It was very obvious in the Gaza genocide. It's again very obvious. Everything that comes out of the mouth of Trump and his administration is anti-Islamic. So anyway, I think that by learning about Islamic history in its essence, what it was intended to be, what it was, the best time of it from 630 to 680, that I think that one is armed from within with knowledge so that one can, uh, then the fight becomes a little fairer than if there is no knowledge put forward in this whole business of spreading hatred and misunderstanding. So that's my goal. I will share with you, and I hope that you will come, and I hope you will bring some other people because this is something that needs to be shared. So if you want to invite some other people, the first one is going to be on the 12th of May. If you want to invite some other people, please, you're most welcome. And I hope, Fariba, you will come. And I hope you will bring some Iranians with you.
12, what time it will be?
Same time. We always meet at this time.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, so
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. We will continue. And this conversation between Dennis and Fariba, we will continue this at least another time. this was just a beginning. There's still so many questions. Okay.
God
Thank you
willing.
so much,
All
Rifat.
right. Thank you very
Nice.
much.
Looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay.
Khuda
Again,
Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz. Khuda
Khuda
Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz.
take care.